Hello and welcome to another edition of the Father and Son Pastime Podcast. I slowed it down there, Dad. I'm Patrick.
I'm Kevin.
That's my dad. Dad, we have done 7 podcasts in a row on November 27th. This is our kind of big day of the year where we look at off-season outlooks, and now the fun part, predicting the top free agents. In this case, top 50. We're going to do the first 25 now, and the second video will be the second half. 11, Dad. 11 of the top 50 free agents, according to MLB Trade Rumors, top 50 free agents have already signed.
Yes.
So
this unique year.
Very unique year. So we've added, especially in the second half of this video, some of our honorable mentions to kind of make up those gaps. So we're still going to give you our 50. So the first top 25 will probably be, a lot of those people have signed, and the top 25 already have signed. Starlin Marte signed yesterday for the Mets. Eduardo Rodriguez for Detroit. Anthony DeSclafani re-signed with the Giants. Verlander re-signed with the Astros. And these people will probably be in this conversation too. Steven Matz signed with the Cardinals. Kendall Graveman signed with the White Sox. And Mark Canha signed with the Mets.
Maybe we should check before we do any further.
No, I just did. Did. It's been a very active 24 hours.
Yes.
So those people aren't going to be in our top 50. We do kind of do a little competition about this to see who gets more right.
He won last year.
Thank you. What's really tough, and I don't know how many I got right last year, but very rarely do we ever see more than 10 right.
It's true.
It's very hard to predict. We were talking in one of the offseason outlooks of how much trading affects your spot. With, hey, I think this person's going to go, here's a shortstop, and that team acquires a shortstop via trade, then probably not only that's wrong, but whoever actually signs who you thought your shortstop, it's just a domino effect from there. Mm-hmm. So sometimes getting one right leads to 4 or 5 right, while getting one wrong leads to 4 or 5 wrong.
It's true. Well put.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Especially with all the shortstops on the board this year.
Yeah.
So, Dad, I don't know if we've ever bet on this, but I am fine with going very high because I'm very confident in my picks. I'm confident, no cheating. Before we even go into guessing, I'm confident I will have more right this year than you, and I will also, for the fans at home, get my first double digits ever right. I bet I get more than 10.
I am confident as well.
Okay, even better. So we know we're going to have a bet here.
Okay.
There's 50 free agents.
Yes.
How about $50?
Okay, you're on.
I bet I have more right.
I bet I have more right.
In the event of a tie, nothing happens.
I have more right.
In the event of a tie,
like a Broadway show.
Alrighty. There's your bet, everybody. Again, we're loopy. We've gone 7 videos in. I think. So you think you'll be in your double digits too, then?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
We probably will have a lot of things similar. Our off-season outlook.
I'm taking everybody who signed and add them to my list.
No, it's not. Your cheeks are getting as red as your shirt. Oh, my goodness. 3 minutes in. Thanks for staying with us, everybody. Oh, my goodness.
I'm better now.
Oh, no, you're not. Dad, we're going to just lead off here. We're not going to say the length. We can speculate on that, but that's not part of the pick. It's just who ends up on what team. So Carlos Correa is our first name. So just picking the right team. We can speculate about the contract. I really don't care about all that stuff. I think that's much harder. But just where he ends up with is what the bet will be about.
Yes.
It's just crying over here. Oh my goodness. All right, Dad. Who do you have Carlos Correa going to? We'll back and forth here. So
I'm going him to the Tigers.
Me too.
Yep. And I really think I went back and forth. If he's going to stay with the Astros, he's going to leave. I just think that he wants a new home. And you mentioned before about A.J. Hinch and everything else. I think he will be the star in Detroit. They need a star. And I think he will fit the bill. I think they got to wiggle some more language in the contract and all that. I don't think he's going to sign before, the bargaining agreement, comes to fruition. But I think he will sign, after that. But it'll be a monster deal, and Detroit will have its star.
I couldn't have said it better. I agree with all that, so I will therefore pick my second pick. Maybe we agree on this too. Corey Seager to the Yankees. In pinstripes.
Corey Seager to the Yankees in pinstripes.
Okay, so I will give my reasoning. After Carlos Correa's comments about Derek Jeter being not a good shortstop, ain't no way he's headed to New York. So I think actually Corey Seager's a better shortstop than Correa. Has a little bit better offensive numbers, rated a little bit better, I think, longevity, has, I believe, less injuries, played more games. Mm-hmm. I think he's 1 year younger too. I think it just looks like a Yankee.
And left-handed.
I think that plays a factor.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest about the right-handed, left-handed splits.
I'm sort of short right hand.
Yeah, I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think if you have power, you have power. Maybe you get 2 or 3 more when it's that shorter.
The Yankees lineup is very dominant of right-handed hitters.
Right.
This breaks it up a little bit.
And again, some people really go into those metrics. I just look at who makes sense to that roster. I think Corey Seager, age-wise, he's handled the Dodger media, so I think he can handle the Yankee media. I look at that stuff a lot more. Yankees are going to get a top 5, or one of those big shortstop names. Corey Seager's my pick.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Well, then do number 3.
Oh, Freddie?
Do Freddie.
Freddie stays home.
We're 3 for 3 together. So this is going to be a very fun... The differences will be in the honorable mentions.
See, every time they land, I get it right because, he doesn't because I said it first.
No, that's not how that works either. I've had these done before you. You did them this morning. I've had them done for a week.
I know.
Get out of here. Tell me what... So
Freddie, I think, is the face of the Braves, like we mentioned before. He's the face of the Braves. He almost... If you're the GM of the Braves, who is a very good GM, you're doing whatever it takes, and apparently it's between 5 and 6 years. Give him the 6th year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a Brave. He's like John Schmaltz and Maddox and all those guys who are legends in Atlanta. He's a legend in Atlanta. Chipper Jones, all those guys. Yeah. I think he needs to stay with Atlanta.
I think out of all the top 50 free agents, this is the biggest lock. If you were a betting man on who's going where, the line differential of, the odds in favor, yeah, Freddie coming home makes the most sense. I just don't know why they haven't done it already. Just do it. Pay the man.
Yeah, and he was so happy to win the World's Championship. Loves being in Atlanta. He was beaming. He's actually beaming after.
Yeah, he's a kid. He's a kid on Christmas.
Yeah, so I think that's an easy one. And if the Braves want to repeat or come close to that, they have to do it with Freddie. Yeah. Have to. And, he's one of the unsung heroes of baseball and real good ambassador of baseball. I think this will give him his due.
Good. Dad, I was telling you off air that 4/5 of my predictions are pretty right on the nose. They're a return home, they're re-signing, things that make sense. We're 3 for 3 for so far. Chris Bryant's one of my oddballs. I don't think you're going to have this one. I haven't looked at your paper. Chris Bryant to the Phillies.
Well, you know what? I know your reasoning. Yeah. I love your reasoning. I don't have him going to the Phillies, but I think I have him going somewhere else. But
Say where you have him going to, and then we'll
Seattle.
Okay, then we'll give each other's our reasons.
Okay, sure.
Chris Bryant to the Phillies. Harper. Las Vegas connection makes a lot of sense.
Best friends.
I think they're friends. Chris Bryant is going to be sold to the Phillies based off the versatility where, hey, if you want to play a few games in center or left field because he fancies himself as an outfielder even though he's a third baseman. I don't think Alec Baum, I think that experiment's over in Philadelphia. Either he becomes a backup third baseman or trade bait for the Phillies. Phillies want to contend. This is a name. I think he does well in Philadelphia. He does well with Chicago media. He'll do well in Philly. To me, it really just makes sense. I think he'll be the third baseman in Philly. He could easily shift to certain days left or center as well. And he likes that.
Yeah, the reason why I have him going to Seattle is apparently he finished second in the trade with the Cubs. They didn't have enough pieces for them, and the GM of Seattle is on record saying, I really would love to have Chris, in our lineup and everything else. I think Seattle will do anything it has to do to get Chris Bryant to do a long-term contract and make Seattle move up that ledger in the American League West. I just think that Seattle will pursue him harder.
We'll see. I think Abraham Toro is their starting third baseman for Seattle next year. To me, today it's solidified when they traded for Adam Frazier being a second baseman. Toro could go second or third. Sure, could he be a utility man? Could there be trades in the works? Sure. But I think there's more of a clear path for Chris Bryant in Philly than there is so much for Seattle.
Can he afford him?
I think both can.
Okay.
I don't think that's the biggest question. I also don't think Chris Bryant's going to get as much money as he thinks he will. I'm thinking it's going to be a 5-year, $100 million. I know we don't talk about that much.
Interesting.
So I think he's only about $20 a year, and I think he's a slightly above average third baseman.
He turned that down with the Cubs.
I know, but I think that's what he gets.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I don't think Rizzo gets a big contract either.
I'll tell you, if Bryant and his buddy is in Philadelphia, Harper, and then all of a sudden that's a nice drive for us to see the Phillies because they're an entertaining team.
Yeah. They would be under that. Yeah, and I got other moves for the Phillies coming too.
Okay, great.
But that's
Beautiful.
their overall. That's their big move for the Phillies. I think I have them. I've summoned a couple more, but that's their big move.
Yeah, right now I would welcome that. I think that'd be a fun thing for the East Coast, and that really kind of pushes more of the talent on the East Coast. So that's great.
Yeah,
hope it happens.
Dad, talk us through Kevin Gossman.
Cardinals.
Really?
As their major signing.
Whoa! So even after getting Mott's,
yes.
Where's he end up in the rotation? Or do they move somebody?
He goes number 2 in the rotation.
So who gets to have 6 starters?
And everybody gets pushed down.
They go 6 starters.
They could. Either that or they trade. I just think that he is from the Midwest, went to LSU. I think he likes that middle part of the continent. And if the Cardinals are serious, this puts them in the World Series.
Okay. Great. I think they're done signing pitchers, at least big-name pitchers. We'll see if that happens. I have a new destination for Gossman as well. We both agree that he's moving away from San Francisco. He's not coming back to Baltimore. He's not heading back to Atlanta. I know he spent a little bit of time there. I have him going to the now contending Minnesota Twins. I know you're very anti-Twins. We talked about this in the offseason outlook. You think they're going to come in 5th next year. I think he becomes sort of a 1 or 2, depending where you look at Maeda. For next year, I have them making a lot of splashes. You'll see the Twins constantly pop up for me. I think I have 4 of the top 50 going to Minnesota next year. Yeah, I have 4 of them. I think it makes sense. They like to pick up some of these people that... Gossman had a great beginning of the year, Cy Young caliber first half. Second half receded a little bit into more of a average, above average pitcher. And I think that's sort of Minnesota's scope. He'll contend with the Keuchels and the Lance Lynns of Chicago, or the Erods of Detroit. So I think he kind of fits into that rotation. It's still Midwest. It's not South Midwest like you were talking about with LSU. But I think Gossman can make a... He doesn't really play in a lot of warm areas so far, like Baltimore, San Francisco. They're cooler climates. In Minnesota, I think he'll do well in Minnesota.
Yeah, the experts, all 3, have him going to the Giants, which is unique.
The experts aren't always right.
That's true.
And hey, we should be 4th and 5th on that list. We're clearly equal.
That's right.
Next, I think this is another commonality between
I think I know where this guy's going.
Marcus Semien to the Boston Red Sox to be the power-hitting second baseman.
Yeah, I agree 100%. What a great addition that would be. That would make the Red Sox offseason. And again, I mean, that's the only gaping hole of the Red Sox lineup. You get that guy playing second base every day. You're really helping yourself. That becomes a good lineup.
Yeah, I think it already is a good lineup, and it becomes better. Semien is also sort of insurance in case Xander and the Red Sox can't agree to an extension, which I think they should be able to. But I like Marcus more at second base anyways. I think he could do a little bit less defensive work, just like in Toronto, and focus more on offense. If you have a 40 home run hitting second baseman playing wherever the heck you want him in your lineup, because that's a great lineup.
Fenway.
Right. So I would love to see Marcus, out of all the second basemen or middle infielders on the market, Marcus Semien, I would love to see in Boston.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
And give him whatever he wants. Give him whatever he wants. 5 years, $125 million. I don't care.
Okay.
Yep.
I like it.
Dad, where's Robbie Ray going to?
He stays with the Blue Jays.
Do they have the money?
Yes, they do. They're moving back to Toronto. They're going to get much more of the gate. I think if they're serious about going to where they want to go, he's a kingpin.
He's a fantastic pitcher.
Yeah.
And he deserves to get paid. Yeah. I don't think he played with Toronto long enough to give him any sort of discount.
No, there's a lot of things going in his favor. I think he has to be, the guy that's the build the pitching staff around.
I would love that to be the case, but I think they just invested so much money in Jose Barrios that Barrios, we're still learning. We're still, I don't know. I just don't think there's enough money for him. I think they do get a pitcher. I think it's that second tier. I'll get to in a little bit. But I have Robbie Ray going to the Los Angeles Angels.
That pitching staff gets real good.
Ohtani, Syndergaard, Robbie Ray. You have 3 potential Cy Youngs, really one
Wow.
winner, and then Sandoval and Suarez kind of round out that order. And I'm not done with the Angels yet. I still have a lot of money coming into Los Angeles next year. I have the Angels as well as the Twins being 2 of the biggest teams on the free agent list. But Robbie Ray, the Angels said we need pitching. They already went and got Syndergaard. It makes sense to go get Robbie Ray.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
I think Robbie Ray's deal will be insane. 7 years, close to 2.
Wow.
I think he'll be and I don't think he's gonna be great for 7 years, but 3 or 4 of those years he will be. And good for him. Good for Robbie Ray.
Throws hard.
Throws hard.
Yeah.
Throws hard.
Okay.
Dad, where's Trevor Story going to?
He goes to the Astros.
Oh, okay. I see the logic. I don't see the money.
The Astros have the money.
I think
they just won to the World Series.
I don't think they do. I don't think they get a big name shortstop replacement for.
Interesting.
Because if you wanted a big name, keep Correa. Don't let him walk.
Well, I think his price tag is gonna be a lot less than Correa.
I agree. I have Trevor Story staying in the National League. The St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh,
welcome to the biggest hitting team in the NL.
Huh.
That was my big drop for St. Louis. There'll be others coming. They're really only other one.
Okay.
St. Louis is my World Series prediction to win it all next year. Already putting it out there.
I have them too.
I have a Cardinals Red Sox reunion.
1967.
No, 2004 and 2013.
We talked about this before.
And then I have the Cardinals actually winning this time. So back in '67.
Yeah.
I think they're a fantastic team, and I think Paul DeJong gets traded to Houston.
Okay.
As their shortstop.
Okay, I can see that.
I can see that, or traded somewhere.
Yeah.
As sort of a backup, I could also see another shortstop option coming to Houston as well. And Sosa becomes a utility infielder. But you bring Arenado and Story back together, that becomes Arenado, Story, Edman, and Goldie.
That's pretty good.
It's impossible.
And a great outfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great catcher. Great pitching.
Yeah. They're on their way.
So you thought the money would go to pitching. I thought the money would go to hitting.
Yeah.
So they're not going to get both Gossman and Story. We can agree on that at least.
Yes.
Okay.
Maxey.
Max Scherzer. You're up.
Dodgers.
You're returning to the Dodgers.
Yes.
Okay.
I just think he's found a home.
So that means Kershaw doesn't return then?
Correct.
Okay, wow.
Correct. I got Kershaw going home.
I think I know what you mean by that.
Yep.
The Dodgers are quite upset that they're going to lose him to the San Francisco Giants.
Oh, my.
Yes. San Francisco is going to give him 3 years, $150 million. He will be paid the richest player. Yes, his age, $50 million a year.
The Giants have that kind of money.
Yes, they do. Right now, their payroll is like $72 million, and they're ready to spend.
Wow.
But they're not going to get Gossman to re-sign. They'll get Cueto back. They're going to get Wood, and Scherzer becomes that ace. And for 3 years or 2 years in an option, Max Scherzer becomes a San Francisco Giant to contend and get a World Series title. So
wow.
I know. Big balls.
Yeah. And 3 years.
Yep.
And he's 37 years old, correct?
I think he's 38 in the winter, but yeah.
Okay.
I think Greinke's a year older than him, so I think he's 37 now and Greinke's 38. Give or take some months.
That would be interesting. I just thought he loved the Dodgers so much that he just felt at home, and the Dodgers would find the money for him.
I really think the Dodgers are going to struggle with money. Now, if Trevor Bauer, again, that whole thing, and they get released from his contract, I could be all wrong. I think he wasn't found guilty in a court of law. MLB is not going to be able to really hold him much, and I think the Dodgers are on the hook for his salary. Whether they play him or not, it's up to them. I just think they're not going to be able to take them both, and I rather think the Dodgers, and not to get ahead of myself, rather keep Kershaw.
Okay.
Nick Castellanos, Cleveland. Staying in Ohio, just going to the Guardians to be the big new name for Cleveland.
Okay.
They're going to switch Naylor from right to left. He can play kind of either corner, and Castellanos becomes a right fielder.
I have him go Marlins to be the big name in Florida.
Well, I was talking about Miggy Rojas. He wants him to come down here.
Yeah, and he's from South Florida.
Yeah.
And he could go a little bit outfield, a little bit of DH, and they could go back and forth. He's the offensive player the Marlins need, and they need to make a splash this offseason, and I think that would be the splash. Great hitter.
Either way, he's signed to a very long-term contract because I don't think he's signed to a true contender like the Dodgers or something like that. Giants maybe, but I have a different name going to the Giants. I just think he's signed with someone that developed with him. So I think he's in for like a 4 or 5 year contract.
Oh, because he had almost that going with the Reds.
Yeah.
But he had all those opt-outs.
Yeah.
So he took an opt-out.
Marcus Stroman, Dad?
I have him going to the Red Sox.
I do not want him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's a hothead. Okay, why the Red Sox?
They need a number 2 or number 3.
Sale and Eovaldi.
Okay. You worry about health.
Yeah.
And right now, I think he likes the East Coast, and I'm thinking he would fit that rotation in there, and you keep those young guys for the bullpen for a little bit till next year.
I think signing Michael Wacha isn't necessarily closing the door on any starters. I just don't think we have the money for Stroman and Semien. We can't rob the Mets and the Blue Jays from that much. I like the idea of a high-end starter coming. Marcus Stroman and Chris Sale would not get along.
Oh, can you see the fight?
Exactly. Where Marcus Stroman has no competition to be the best is Seattle.
Look at that. Got him second.
Yep. I think he has the ability to be the ace or the number 2 there, depending how Justice Sheffield does this year, or even Chris Flexen.
Yeah.
But I have that move happening, him going out west, and contending. You're right. The Mariners want to win. You have Chris Bryant. I have Marcus Stroman being the name.
Okay. Cool.
This is where I think we have a commonality, Dad. Javi Baez.
Angels.
Angels as a starting shortstop.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Joe Madden.
Yeah. And they got along real well in Chicago.
Yeah.
He loved Javi.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Just don't suck.
Yeah. Just try not to suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. That is a lot of money if anyone's really tracking it home and being like, Angels, according to Patrick, are getting Robbie Ray and Javi Baez. You're right, but he just said that Max Scherzer goes to the Dodgers. So there's a lot of money in LA. Past this, for me, it's not. They're not going to get something crazy. Baez and Ray get the long contracts. Additional free agents may only get like a year on an option. So
yeah, Javi would be a long-term deal. Javi at his best is a great shortstop and everything else.
Yep.
He goes through peaks and valleys, but I think Joe knows how to, let him, ride and all that stuff. I just think he needs a low-key manager and maybe some low-key fans. The reason why he didn't get along with the Mets fans is they started booing him.
Yeah.
And you can't boo Javi.
Yeah.
Javi's sensitive.
Yeah.
So in L.A., he won't have that.
You're right.
I just think it's a good fit for him to go West Coast.
And they're my only 2 splashes in terms of the top 50 that the Angels make. So again, that's enough for me to be extremely competitive with Houston next year.
Cool.
Dad, Starlin Marte is the next name. He's already signed with the Mets.
Correct.
After that's Erod. He signed with Detroit. I want to say you're up next with Kyle Schwarber.
You know what? I have Kyle going to the Blue Jays.
Blue Jays to do what?
DH.
They have Randall Grichuk. I guess they could use an improvement, but
think about adding some pop to that lineup, and he would be so great with the young boppers. They'd be scoring 8-10 runs a game.
The young boppers. The Blue Jay boppers.
I just think that he'd be a great fit for the Blue Jays. I think they have the money, and I think he would entertain it. Washington's pulling the full court press on him, but I think he stays in the American League. I think he's suited better for the American League. He seemed to hit better, had a better season, and he wouldn't have to worry about playing first base anymore.
I think he does go to Washington. He goes back to the Nats.
Okay.
I think it's almost rinse and repeat. Will they get him for...
Because of Martinez or because of...
No, I think he really likes Washington. I
Okay.
think he gets traded again mid-season. I think the same thing happens to Kyle. But yeah, I think if there's not another home run hitter in the lineup besides Soto gets walked. So you got to put Bell and Schwarber around him just to make sure Soto gets his hits and at-bats.
Okay.
Otherwise, Soto's not going to have as good of a year. He's a fantastic player, but if he's the only one in the lineup, You got to have some sort of protection for Juan, and I think having Kyle gives him that protection. If you walk Soto, you got to face Schwarber and vice versa.
Yeah, Robles has been a disappointment.
Yeah. Defensively, okay.
Yeah.
Offensively, not so much.
Correct. Okay.
So I think Schwarber goes home to Washington. Sure, Boston offers something, but it's not close.
Yeah.
Chris Taylor, Dad.
Now this was, I think
this is my turn.
but this was a tough one.
This was a tough one. Chris Taylor can play multiple positions, and very well, unlike Chris Bryant. So when you have a player that is really talented, so I called Kike Hernandez last year because he was a big need, and he could have played multiple positions for Boston. What really worked for Kike is once he settled into center, his offensive numbers went up. We saw this in the playoffs, and he was Gold Glove level, not winning, but Gold Glove level defense in center field. And when I hear Chris Taylor, I think more second base. I think that's more suited for him. I think he's done pretty well at second base, and he wants to win. He's used to winning with the Dodgers. He goes, like I said earlier, in the AL Central predictions, they mimic the Red Sox success. They get Chris Taylor as their second baseman. He becomes a White Sox.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Him and Tim Anderson playing second short.
Tim was a great shortstop.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Moncado, Abreu. I think, again, if there's injuries in the outfield, because I know that's always a thought with the White Sox, go ahead, Chris Taylor. Spend some time in the outfield.
They do have a whole second base. Yeah.
So that's your 130-game second baseman, and the other 30 or so, you plug them at the injuries. You plug them when someone needs a day off.
God makes the White Sox a favorite in that division.
Yep. Who do you have?
Seattle.
Back to Seattle, where he started his career. Now playing what position, considering they just got Frazier?
I didn't know that before I made this list, by the way. But I had him almost the same thing, starting in the infield, probably second base, and then playing around, just to give us some more star power in Seattle. And I think he would fit really well there. And I think Seattle's general manager making deals. I think he'd like to have him there, just as versatility.
You're right. Do you think they get Taylor and Bryant? I mean, that's a half new infield.
I think that's what he wants. I think he's going for it. To be that close to a wild card, you're less than 2 games away from a wild card. I think just by his actions at the deadline, he's going to pull all the stops. He's really going to hit the gas pedal.
My backups for Chris Taylor were Boston or the Angels, basically, if in that shuffle between Marcus Semien and Javi Baez, if there's some shuffling and trading around, you're talking about dominoes falling, I can see Chris Taylor rejoining Kike and Doogie and almost having like the LA. I mean, really, the Dodgers traded, if that happens, Doogie, actually Kike, actually Chris Taylor for Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
That kind of looked like a trade almost. But I still think the White Sox make the most sense for him. If they can afford him, I think he's due his payday. I don't know how much, but he'll look for a Kike-sized contract.
And he deserves it. And what a blow for LA to lose him, because there were some games that I watched that he was the star of the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. So, so that's a big loss.
You're up for Raciel Iglesias.
Toronto Blue Jays.
Now, they have a closer, Dad.
They need bullpen help. But
Jordan Romano is that youthful closer, so he moves to setup man?
Yes, and he's the closer.
Okay, I can see that happening. The team in baseball that needs bullpen help, I think, more than anyone, that's especially a contender, is the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, you're right.
So I have him Raciel going to the Phillies. Again, I don't know what we're doing with Ranger Suarez yet. I have him being more of a swing man, whether in the fifth, sixth hole when someone gets injured as a starter or long relief. I think they'll need a closer, and Raciel is the best name on the market.
You know what? If they can afford everything, I would love to get a better sense of what their vision is and how much money they have to spend this offseason. I haven't received that yet. I know they got so much invested in Harper. It'd be interesting to see what's left in the bank account.
Mm-hmm. I have 2 more signings for Philly.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, it's like Philly, it's the Angels.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. Their Twins are making deals. Dad, all the things you were saying about Marcus Stroman to the Red Sox, I believe about Carlos Rodon. So, Carlos Rodon has some injuries. He has, obviously, the White Sox with Chris Sale connections. And I think having Michael Wacha, in case Rodon isn't as strong or, isn't as ready for a starting role because he's still coming back from injuries and still finding his way again, then when Wacha comes in. But Carlos Rodon could be that number 3 starter for the Boston Red Sox, and Wacha could be a swingman long relief.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I like that. He in the second half of the year, Carlos had some arm problems.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not back yet, which really helps Boston's money.
And he's a left-hander.
Him and Sale. That's why I said the White Sox connection.
Yeah.
The money will be spent on Semien. If they don't get Carlos Rodon, I think Rodon's going to be a steal, almost like a Kike, honestly, where you could offer Rodon maybe 2 years, $16 million, and he overperforms.
Yeah.
$8 million isn't much of a risk for Boston, considering Eduardo Rodriguez got signed for whatever was it, $15-16 million a year, something like that, math-wise.
2-year deal, I think.
No, Rodriguez got 5 years,
5. That's right.
79.
77.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Yeah.
So if you can look at him as almost like an Erod replacement and pay him less, it's almost like a Benintendi and Renfroe switch, which is what they did last year to save some money. So I understand that, but they will be linked to that someone in the second tier, not an ace, not a number 2, but a number 3, 4, or 5 guy.
And he's still young enough to really make a dent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Carlos Rodon's market should be just like Steven Mott's. Anyone that's interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, his name's been floated with many, many teams, and again, they're going to check out his health and then go from there.
Yeah. Who do you have going?
I got Mariners.
Are they signing the whole free agency team?
I think it's my last Mariner. But I have Mariners just because of their track record doing a big splash.
That's your first pitcher, right?
Yes.
For the Mariners?
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
All right.
And I think they'll sign him for, 2 years, substantial amount of money. They'll take that risk.
It's very interesting to see our flips between Stroman and Rodon because Mariners, Red Sox, just different people.
Yep.
So
yep.
Yeah. Just who gets the ace caliber, and I think Seattle makes some more sense for an ace caliber.
Yeah.
Second tier again, staying with pitchers, Jonathan Gray. You're up.
First signing of the Chicago Cubs. That's their ace. And
he's a good pitcher.
Well, remember what Jed has to say. Jed said he's going after pitchers that throw hard. Mm-hmm. He fits that category. I think they made an investment with him, and I think that's their big splash this offseason. But I think they're going after a big pitcher that can hold down that number 1 slot. He's the guy that I think they almost drafted him when he came out of Oklahoma. But I think he fits the Cubs.
I think he fits the Blue Jays.
Ooh!
I think he's tired of losing in Colorado and just doesn't want to lose more in Chicago. So I think he replaces a Robbie Ray in the rotation. They save a lot of money by not re-signing Robbie Ray. And he becomes like a 3-4 guy in the rotation. Solid numbers. He gets like a 12-8 type of year, 12-7. And does well, pitches in a dome, so maybe that helps rather than pitching in the cold Colorado. Just a thought, again, John Gray's market could go anywhere. I have him possibly going to the Twins if the Twins don't get Gossman.
I think he'll be pursued heavily.
So, because he's like Motts.
Because he's affordable.
Yeah, Steven Motts.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Dad, probably a big question mark on everyone's mind is the posting of really young phenom Seiya Suzuki out of Japan. Outfielder, predominantly a right fielder. Where's he going?
I got him in Atlanta.
Whoa. So that becomes Acuna, Azuna, and Suzuki.
That's a hell of an outfield.
Duvall becomes DH?
Yeah.
If there's a DH? Okay. Yeah. That would make sense. There have to be a DH for that to work.
The big question mark is Azuna in that mix.
I think he is.
Okay. But I think he fits that profile very well.
I could see that if, again, the DH thing falls. That makes some sense. I don't think they have money after Freddie. I think they're kind of maxed out on big monies. Don't forget that Suzuki's foreign team gets like a percentage of that contract for like years.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw that.
I think it's a finder's fee, or they call something.
It's a posting fee.
Yes.
But then in addition to that, part of their posting was we get like 25% of his contract, which I don't know if it's coming from Suzuki or the team. I'll look more into that. So I don't know if you're paying Suzuki $20 million a year. Does that mean $5 million goes from his contract, or is it Suzuki gets $20 million
and additional,
and then you have it right? So I think he sounds very expensive. So I look at a team that can afford him, which is a West Coast team that has a lot of money, the San Francisco Giants, who will move way to left.
They have good gaps, yeah.
Yeah, or center. Doesn't really matter to me, but I think Yase's in center. Suzuki is your right fielder. And Seiya Suzuki gets a franchise almost built around him.
And the West Coast may be a better fit for a person that's coming out of Japan.
Yeah. Now, prior to yesterday's news, I thought he would be a Met, but San Francisco was my backup, and after the Mets clearly filled up their outfield, I switched this before this podcast to San Francisco.
Yeah.
He will not be a Met.
Okay.
I almost could guarantee that.
Yeah, I agree with not being a Met.
Dad, I don't know where we are and who's guessing first anymore. Where's Anthony Rizzo going?
He stays with the Yankees.
It makes some sense.
He says he loves New York. He would like to stay. And I'm thinking as they look at their lineup, they go, hey, he's a good defensive first baseman. You know, he won't be a star in that team. I think they take him and they give him a 1 or 2 year deal.
So what
He won't be a big. He won't be pursued heavily.
I agree. Then what happens with the Voit, LeMahieu, Rizzo logjam then?
I think he makes some trades along the way, and I think they got a lot of offense, and they just got to figure it out. But I think the match is there. Rizzo says he wants to stay, and I think the Yankees like him. You know, I just think in Yankee Stadium is his best stadium that he can play in because of the short right field fence that he can go. And I think he's marketable in New York.
He will be linked to the Yankees. He'll be linked to the Red Sox. He'll be signed by the Braves if they don't get Freddie. My wildcard team, again, Bryant, I threw out something, see if it sticks. Minnesota Twins will be signing Anthony Rizzo as their starting first baseman. Miguel Sanyo becomes their DH.
Wow.
Yes. Him and Donaldson will get in some fights in the clubhouse. It's not great, but they're going to try to make it work. I think Donaldson actually gets traded somehow mid-year, even over the offseason.
Minnesota.
I
never would have guessed.
He can play in cold. I think Minnesota likes that. He is a older guy, and Josh Donaldson is not the clubhouse leader, and they need a clubhouse leader. Kirilloff, Royce Lewis coming up, Max Kepler are all in their 20s still. They kind of need
a guiding hand.
Yeah, they need and you're right. He's not going to get paid a lot.
No,
he's not going to see $20 million a year.
He's a down, and the thing you worry about me is his back.
Yeah.
For the last 3 years, numerous times during the season, they got to sit him because he's got a bulging disc or whatever. I think his best days are well behind him.
Same with Bryant, in my opinion too. I think Bryant has a little bit more upside.
Bryant's younger.
I was just about to say Bryant's best days are behind him, but he still has upside, being versatile and trying to play multiple positions.
Yeah.
And I do think Chris Bryant has a higher average and will strike out less than Rizzo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anthony DeSclafani signed Giants. Justin Verlander re-signed Houston. Do we see a trend continued out with Aviso Garcia? Does he resign?
He sticks with the Brewers.
I have that too, Dad. I have him resigning. Mainly, I'll add in, here, he was their offensive juggernaut of the Brewers last year, and they kind of realized, hey, we probably should trade Kane and Bradley, which will happen first before I think they sign Aviso Garcia. Yeah. Who knows where one of those two guys go, but I think he likes Milwaukee, and he clearly can hit 30 home runs there.
Yeah. I think Brewers have to hang on to him to have any chance of being a repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
This next one, Dad, feels like a freebie because he was, linked to it, but it's not official yet. But where's Alex Wood going to?
Oh, he's going to San Francisco.
Right. Yeah. As of this podcast, on the 27th of November.
You skipped one, by the way. Jorge Soler.
Oh, my bad. I'll come back to him. You're
okay.
Right. Let's just finish with Wood.
Yeah.
Alex Wood does. It seems a very simple one. He re-signed with the Giants. It wasn't official by the time of this podcast. So sorry. Jorge Soler.
Is it your turn, mine?
Doesn't matter.
He goes to the Rockies to have just a field day.
Where's he play? DH? If there's a DH?
A little bit of right field.
That's Blackman.
Charlie Blackman. Then a little bit of left field.
Tapia.
Then a little bit of DH. They'll find in Colorado. They can convince him he'll be a 50 home run guy
with a lot of strikeouts.
Yeah,
you're right.
But they don't care.
They
want some action. They want butts in the seats.
Butts in the seats. I think that makes sense. I also see the DH coming to the National League, and he stays in Atlanta.
Oh my!
I know he's surprisingly not that expensive. Money goes to Freeman. They give him 2 years, $26 million or something like that. What's he on the record as? 3 years, 36.
Yeah.
Okay, right on the money.
Yeah, 12.
So yeah, give him a little bit more ABV. And yeah, he becomes a great DH if he wants to trade off with Duvall, playing a little outfield DH. You got a great system there. I think he's one of the few. I don't think they'll keep Eddie Rosario on the Braves team or Jock Peterson, but I think they'll keep Jorge Soler.
We'll talk a little bit more as we get further, but defensively he has shortcomings.
Oh, I know.
But he hits a baseball ball as hard as anybody in the major leagues.
I know.
When he torched that one in the upper deck of Houston, my God.
Yeah. Well, again, mostly he'd be signing for DH reasons. If DH doesn't come to the National League, both our predictions are wrong. That doesn't make any sense. He'll stay with some American League team.
Right. But I think
DH
his
capacity.
ego will say, I want to play a little outfield, and that's just not DH all the time.
Right.
So I think that's part of it. And, again, he to get to a point that he was almost DFA'd to a MVP World Series, unbelievable.
It's a great story. It's a Steve Pearce type story.
That's right. And if you want to buy a Steve Pearce bobblehead, we have some on sale.
We don't at the
moment. We can get our hands on some. Buying them. We can get our hands on some.
Next couple, Dad, they've all signed. We're closing out we're rounding out around top 25. Steven Matz signed with the Cardinals. Kendall Graveman signed with the White Sox. Mark Conhaus signed with the Mets. Let's close it out talking about Kenley Jansen, Dad. Where's he going?
Surprise, the Toronto Blue Jays.
Do you have two? Don't you have like two closers to this point?
No.
Yes, you do. Who's the other? I thought you said, where's Raciel Iglesias going to?
He's going there too. But I got Jansen. I got Jansen going there too to fill that.
They're not going to both go to Toronto.
Well, I have them doing that.
I say he stays with the Dodgers.
No.
I think there's a lot of reunions coming up. I don't want to leak my next prediction, but I think Kershaw stays with the Dodgers too. I don't think Kenley gets the attention he gets or he wants to get in free agency. I think a lot of attention to Raciel. We saw quick attention to Kendall Graveman. And I think Kenley Jansen's signed for like $8 million a year. And he comes back to the Dodgers on a steal. Maybe he gets better. Maybe it's only a 1-year contract. But I don't see a lot of people wanting Kenley just because of some of the publicity he's had in the big games not being as dominant as he should have been.
Right, and that will lower his price tag. Yeah. Again, I think I think Toronto's going to do whatever it takes to make themselves a great team, and he's part of the picture.
Yeah, they don't get both, but maybe you're double downing and saying they're going to get one. I'm going to be right on one.
I'm going to win my $50.
Right, exactly. All right, well, we're going to cut it right there for the first half of the show. We're about 45 minutes in.
Okay.
So thanks for watching with us. Share us your thoughts. Who made good points? Who was wild? What do you think? What's your kind of wild, crazy pick? This is only the first half, so let us know also who do you think is going to win the bet between us, who had a better top 25 or whatever that. We kind of cut right in the middle, so if we were right on the money, we were right on the money. But this is going to be a really fun offseason. Been very active so far, and we're looking forward to doing part 2.
Yeah, it was great. You went by pretty quickly. I didn't think we were going to take care of all 25 that quickly.
Yeah. Last year, Dad, we did the top 10, and it took us 45 minutes to do 10.
Yeah.
So we're getting better.
I think we're agreeing more.
We are. We agreed, I think, on 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Big names, too.
Yeah.
Well, here comes part 2, guys. And always, thanks for watching, and just hit that play button.
Thank you.